Yo, Shopper here, or you might know me as Permagrin from the Diablo 4 Discord, and today I have some big updates from the Bloodless Scream video that I put out a few days ago. So since I posted that video, I have done some testing on the Eternal Realm, which you can see behind me, and I answered a lot of the questions that we have about this item, and it basically changed the way we use it, and it definitely changed the builds. If you want to skip all the boring number stuff and go right to the updated build guide, the timestamp is going to be on the screen right now, and it'll be in the description. So let's get into it. Bloodless Scream is a two-handed scythe that's a Necromancer unique, and it has some really simple, unique text on it that raises more questions than it answers. The first thing we read in its unique text says that your darkness skills chill for up to 100%. So what does this actually mean? Does this mean that my darkness skills instantly chill enemies for 100%? Does this mean I can successfully freeze enemies with my darkness skills? Does this mean each darkness skill applies a random amount of chill each time? Does this mean that each darkness spell chills for a set percentage between 0 and 100? What is the chill percentage of each darkness skill? How does chill even work? Let's start off by answering that last question, how does chill work? And we'll work our way through answering the other ones as well. Chill operates like a hidden stagger bar for regular and elite mobs. A chill effect lasts on a target for 3 seconds and can be extended by your crowd control duration stat. If you continue to apply chill to a target that is already chilled, you will fill up this hidden freeze bar and you will freeze the target. If you fail to reapply chill to a target within 3 seconds, it will reset back to 0% chill. For example, I have a spell that says it chills enemies for 25%. If I hit them once, they are chilled for 25% for the next 3 seconds. If I hit them again within 3 seconds, they will be chilled by 50%. If I do this a total of 4 times without letting the chill reset to 0, the target will freeze. This also means we can now reverse engineer the chill percentage of our abilities. If we know that a target takes 4 hits from an ability to freeze, we can take 100, the amount of chill needed to freeze, and divide that by 4, the amount of hits needed to freeze, and deduce that the spell in question chills for 25%. It is simple math, but it is needed to calculate the chill percentage of each of the Necromancer's darkness skills. Now, let's get into some testing. Behind you is some footage of me on the Eternal Realm. I've removed all of my gear, all of my skill points, and all of my Paragon, except for the Bloodless Scream. This way, I have no stats that modify my chill percentage or my chance to freeze. First up for testing is Decompose. This is a channeled darkness basic skill for the Necromancer, and let's find out the chill percentage. I start channeling on this enemy, and it takes a total of 9 ticks of damage for this enemy to freeze. If we take the math that we previously discussed and take 100 divided by the 9 hits from our darkness skill, we can assume that Decompose has around 11.11% chill. Let's check this a few times to be sure of our math. Once again, we can see that it takes 9 hits to freeze this enemy, and then on a separate enemy, again, 9 hits in total to freeze. So, what can we learn from this? Due to its repeatability, we can assume a few things from this testing. The first is that darkness skills do not freeze enemies instantly, so we can throw that out the window. The next thing that we can assume is that darkness skills do not freeze for a random amount due to it taking 9 hits each time that we tested this ability. Finally, this data suggests that darkness skills do have a set chill percentage, but is it different for every darkness skill? Let's look at the next ability. Next, we'll be testing the basic skill Reap. Reap is also a darkness ability, so let's find out the chill percentage. I begin hitting my target and count a total of 7 hits before my target is frozen. Again, we take the math that we discussed earlier, and if we take 100 divided by 7, we can assume that Reap has a 14.28% chill. Let's repeat this again to check. Once again, it takes 7 hits of Reap to freeze our targets, So we can again assume a few things. Now that we've tested two different darkness skills and can see that Decompose has around 11% chill and that Reap has around 14% chill, we can definitively say that each darkness skill has a different set chill percentage. Using this methodology, I've come up with the following chill percentages for every darkness skill that I could think of for the Necromancer's Bloodless Scream. There's a few important things to note. As we can see, Blight has an extremely low chill percentage, but it does seem to chill enemies faster when they're standing in multiple pools of the damage over time effect. As well, Blight shoots a projectile and has a separate damage over time effect, which I've yet to determine the difference in chill percentages between. Looking at Blighted Corpse Explosion, we also have a similar effect, where the chill percentage is extremely low in a singular pool, but it does freeze enemies faster when they are in multiple pools of your Blighted Corpse Explosion. Next, we look at the Ultimate Shadow, Bone Storm, and Blood Wave, which turns these abilities into darkness skills, and interestingly, they do not have the ability to freeze an enemy on their own unless you use an aspect that extends or duplicates them, such as the Osseous Gale aspect or the Title aspect. Lastly, we have the Necromancer Unique Greaves of the Empty Tomb, which leaves a path of desecrated ground beneath your sever, and I have yet to find out the chill percentage on. I would love to have made this video when I have definitive answers on every single chill percentage, but unfortunately, I think I'll have to wait until next patch when we get the training dummy to do some more accurate testing, but please keep up to date on the testing in my Google Sheets. That rounds out all the math and testing for the Bloodless Scream, and for those of you that are here for the updated build guide, we can now watch some gameplay and go over what I've been playing based on the information that I've gathered. The link to this build will be pinned in the comments below, but I'll also quickly go over my gear in-game as well as my skills, and we'll watch a quick bit of gameplay from a Tier 88 dungeon. Alright, so here we are in the Seasonal Realm with my actual character, so I can go over my gear with you guys. Obviously, we've got the Bloodless Scream. This is super important to the build. There's no way to play it without it. I rolled max on my darkness skill damage. I'm hoping for some better rolls on the percent damage to chilled enemies, and obviously a max roll on the unique effect. You can run sapphires or emeralds as the gem, as critical strike damage to crowd controlled or critical strike damage to vulnerable are both things that we can keep uptime on in this build. Next, we've got Greaves of the Empty Tomb. These are also something that you could exchange for Flicker Step in this build, but I really like the maximum evade charges, as well as the lucky hit chance with shadow damage, which is essentially everything we use in this build. Next is Tybalt's Will, another huge increase to our flat percent damage, and we can keep nearly 100% uptime on the unique effect with Metamorphosis and the maximum evaded charges from Greaves of the Empty Tomb. You're going to find that your resource generation is pretty low until you get this unique item, so I do recommend that you don't play this build until you have Tybalt's Will, but there are variations of it you can run before then. Looking at my gloves, the most important stats are going to be Ranks of Sever, Lucky Hit Chance, Damage over time, and the attack speed can be exchanged for an affix of your choice. I'm looking to move my Blighted aspect from my gloves to my amulet for that 50% bonus. Looking at my chest here, we're taking purely defensive stats, percent armor, maximum life, damage reduction, and preferably we'd like damage reduction from close enemies or from enemies affected by shadow damage over time. This can also be exchanged for darkness or shadow skill damage if you roll it, if you're really looking to push the build forward in terms of damage numbers. Lastly, we've got the Godslayer Crown, another giant flat percent damage increase. We can make use of the crowd control duration increase, the CDR for our Bone Storm, and the effect is super nice. Here's our necklace here. Again, I'm going to be moving Ultimate Shadow to my gloves and Blighted to the necklace. But the most important things are the terror ranks, your damage reduction, your essence cost reduction, and your darkness skill damage. The damage reduction can be changed out, but I find it's important. Both rings, we want the same stats: shadow damage, damage over time, damage to close, and lucky hit percent chance. I'm running Osseous Gale and Exposed Flesh. Once you get Tybalt's Will, you will not need Exposed Flesh, but I do find it as a great way, in case our evade charges run out, that we can still have a way to generate large amounts of essence. As you can see, I'm rocking a fire resistance, lightning resistance, and poison resistance gem. That's because the Bloodless Scream is going to max us out on cold resistance, and the Necromancer naturally has access to shadow resistance. Looking at my Book of the Dead, I'm sacrificing my Reapers for 15% shadow damage, but you can sacrifice the Defenders for the 20% resist to all. I'm sacrificing my Cold Mages for 15% vulnerable damage, which is again something we can keep up most of the time with our Sever, and with our Tybalt's Will plus Metamorphosis, and sacrificing the Iron Golem for the increased critical strike damage. But again, this is your choice. You can take the 10% max life or the 10% attack speed if that's something that you value for the build. Let's take a look at the vampiric powers. Obviously, we'll be taking Metamorphosis because of its synergy with Tybalt's Will, Prey on the Weak to keep everything vulnerable, and Anticipation because it synergizes with Bone Storm. Flowing Veins is something that I'm looking to swap out, and obviously Domination because of how often we freeze stuff. Flowing Veins is something that I've been considering changing out for Resilience or for Ravenous, because those are both effects that we can take advantage of, either more damage or more defensives, and we really aren't putting that many damage over time effects out unless we're really in a pinch. So looking at the skill tree, we're taking Reap, and we'll be taking 1 point into Enhanced Reap. Remember that Reap gives you a flat damage reduction, so this is something you want to weave in while you're playing. We'll take 3 points of Imperfectly Balanced, 1 point in Unliving Energy, maximum points in Sever, Enhanced Sever, and it's a Paranormal Sever. 3 points into Hued Flesh. We're taking 1 point into Blood Mist for access to it, maximum Corpse Explosion, Enhanced and Blighted Corpse Explosion, 3 in Grim Harvest, and 3 in Fueled by Death. We're taking Death's Embrace and Amplified Damage, as we'll be cursing our targets to get that damage amp, as well as proc all the lucky hit effects of Decrepify. Looking at the passives, 3 in Reaper's Pursuit, 3 into Gloom, and 3 into Terror. You can swap some points into Crippling Darkness if you value it, but the only CCs we really want are Chilled and Frozen. Lastly, we're taking Standalone and Memento Mori, all 3 points into Bone Storm, and obviously Shadow Blight. The Paragon is not complete at the moment as my character is only level 88. If you want the full Paragon board, please go to the link pinned in the comments below. But while you're making your way towards that, the most important glyphs to maximize are going to be Scourge, Control, Darkness, and Exploit while you make your way towards Sacrificial. Now let's look into some gameplay. As you can see in the video, our gameplay loop is pretty simple. Put a Decrepify down, pop Bone Storm, and then dash in to activate our Godslayer Crown and our Tybalt's Will, while spamming Sever to get those freezes off. It's a really satisfying combination of both damage and CC, but we are a little bit squishy while our CDs are down, and that's when we'll have to switch to using Blighted Corpse Explosion and the range on our Sever to freeze stuff while keeping us safe. I found that there's kind of an ebb and flow to this build. While Bone Storm is up, you're basically invincible and you'll freeze everything around you. And while it's down, you do need to play a little bit more ranged while using your Metamorphosis and Tybalt's Will to avoid enemy damage. Here you can definitely see that we've got to use our range here and our CC to keep ourselves kind of safe. It wouldn't be a B tier build if it could do everything flawlessly, so you will have to be careful with this build and wait out your CDs, but it definitely works, and I'll be updating it if I can find anything to make us more defensible. But nobody can deny when you get those big freezes and big pull-ins that it's super satisfying to see everything just get crushed and explode around you. I just really am looking for more ways to make it operate like that at all times so that we aren't so scared when Bone Storm is down. With that, I'll leave you guys with another minute of gameplay, and I hope to see you guys in the next one, or if there's any more updates to the build once the training dummy comes out. Thanks so much for watching.